was more
Okay.
of just a hobby. She was like, "Hey, our friend got to look at doing it." And I was like, "Wait, what?" So I started looking it up and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Trained myself and Don had given me somebody who made suits in Texas. So I did my very first show in Texas. It was called The Heart of
Okay.
Texas.
Okay.
And I went there. I never forget, my parents came. It was this big deal. And I competed. I got my tail wiped across. I mean, I got blew out. This was a huge show. Yeah, I was just up there having a good time. But I got hooked. Okay, this is kind of fun.
Greetings and welcome to the Elevated Flow podcast. I'm your host, Coach Flo, aka the Black Rowing Queen. The Elevated Flow podcast spotlights elite and everyday female athletes over 40, sharing how they elevate their game and their flow in sports, wellness, and life. These are powerful stories of strength, resilience, wisdom, and inspiration to help women stay active, age strong, and pass the torch to the next generation. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Please help me welcome Miss Vicki Rochelle Counts Bickerstaff. Hey, Miss Vicki. Can I call you
Hey,
just Vicki?
yes, absolutely. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I can't complain. All is well.
Awesome. I'm so happy to have you on this podcast, and I'm really excited about our conversation today.
Yay, me too. Me too.
So let me go ahead and give you a formal introduction. Miss Vicki Rochelle Counts Bickerstaff earned her bachelor's degree in biology from Fisk University in 1996, followed by a bachelor's in nursing from Rush University in 1998 and a master's in nursing as a family practitioner in 2004. She has dedicated more than 20 years to cardiac critical care nursing, where she saw firsthand the impact that lifestyle has on long-term health. Alongside her clinical work, she became an IFBB figure professional in 2011 and competed on the Mr. Olympia stage in 2016. Although she retired from competing in 2021, she remains deeply committed to wellness, training consistently, and recently she returned to running, completing a 10K after just 2 weeks of preparation. She ran it at a 10-minute and 18-second pace. Pretty impressive. As she continues to evolve in her wellness journey, she is intentional about aging actively and gracefully. Her hope is that she is an example that encourages women of all ages, especially those approaching midlife, to prioritize movement, strength, healthy habits to support vitality and reduce chronic illness. Her mission is to show that discipline, self-care, and consistency are investments that pay off at every stage of life. Welcome, Miss Vicki.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Wow. Where do we start?
No, right?
So, you have spent more than 20 years in cardiac critical nursing. That
Yeah.
is amazing. Yeah, these days people aren't spending that long in careers, but
No, no.
very
And I never
impressive.
thought that I would either, to be honest with you.
So for everything that you've seen in that environment, what do most people misunderstand about the link between lifestyle and long-term health?
So many misconceptions. I feel like it's getting a little better now than what it was when I first started in the nursing career.
I would hope
How
so.
people are linking, lifestyle with overall health. But being from the South, soul food was a thing, and
Still
it
is.
was not the healthiest.
Right.
And I just remember even transitioning as growing up with my mom would cook with Crisco and how we moved from Crisco to more like canola oil and things of that nature. But a lot of people are just totally unaware how your lifestyle has a huge impact on your health. A lot of people are don't believe in exercise and feel like a foodie and they're going to eat what they want to eat because they love to eat and don't look at the long-term effects that has on your health. But currently, as we in this new age, it's more of a thing to be healthy and to work
Hmm.
out. That used to
Right.
not be a thing, but seeing while I was nursing at the bedside in critical care, seeing the patients who would totally, omit rather, uh, diet
Mm.
just by cutting out salt or, you know, because we were in the age, I think microwaves came out and
Hmm.
remember the quick meals and,
Right.
you could pop in a meal and you got a whole meal, but we didn't realize how much sodium
Exactly.
those things had
Just to preserve
with
them.
exactly. So being African American, we are at higher risk for a lot of chronic disease issues, one being hypertension. The famous thing it's known for is it's called the silent killer because you can walk around with hypertension and feel great. You don't feel bad until it's too late. And having hypertension that's not treated, that can lead to organ damage, which includes kidney failure, damaging your heart, all of those things. And the bad thing about that is once that occurs, you can't go backwards.
Mm.
You can only just hope that it doesn't worsen.
Mhm.
So, just being more aware. I feel like in this current time we're a little bit more aware, but you still have people that just kind of do what they do what they
Right.
want to do because they always feel it won't happen to me type of
Right.
thing. Right. And being in that arena, I always think it was old people that would have chronic
Yeah.
issues, heart
Right.
issues, and I started noticing my patient population getting younger and younger. So, what is the root cause of, people having these chronic issues or having a heart attack at a young age? Like, what's the root cause? The root cause is people are not aware of their diet, they're not
Mhm.
exercising. So, those are some of the things that in some aspects, things are getting better, in some aspects, things are getting worse because we really are not aware of what they're putting in our food.
Right. Right.
You know, fast food is convenient.
Mm.
People are don't have time to cook. So
Right.
it's easy to go run and pick up something, but it's not necessarily the best thing for us.
Right. 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 Two things that you said that I could definitely relate to is one, I have a friend, I'll say one friend at least, that says they're allergic to exercise, which is totally ridiculous. Like, it's only for certain people. It's like, no, everybody is supposed to exercise. And then the other thing is just being aware of how diseases are in our families. And, like they talk about how type 2 diabetes is not hereditary. I didn't know that myself until I went to fitness school and I took my first nutrition class. And it was like the first paragraph in the book where they were talking about how type 2 diabetes is directly related to what you eat. And I'm like, what? So it is a matter of ignorance. The diets and the traditions that we have in our families has a lot to do with the diseases that we have that are related to food because we just continue those traditions.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
that's why they say, I have diabetes runs in my family. That's because we just pick up those same traditions and those eating
Mhm.
habits, which, like you said, we don't know that it's not good for us until we know, and
Right.
sometimes it's too
Right.
late, unfortunately.
True. Very true.
Is there an example? Well, before I ask that question, have you seen, I know that now it's kind of like a trend, so to speak, where people are being healthy and exercising. Have you seen a shift in the way that people that are in school to become doctors or nurses is changing as far as nutrition is concerned? Because I've heard so many people that have gone to medical school that said, I didn't take a nutrition course, or people that have said, oh, that wasn't required, but I did take one, but it's not really a requirement. Have you seen a shift in that area?
Not a lot. Not
Mhm.
not a lot, to be honest. I mean, you have the thing called the DASH diet that they use for hypertension, but unfortunately, no. I think it's individually based on what a person is interested in and how they want to approach their career as a physician and or nurse. You have
Okay.
some people who dive in and more in nutrition focus and understand that that could help people
Mm,
in regards to preventing chronic diseases and or if you have a disease, keeping it at bay.
okay.
But I still feel like in the US, we're still kind of focused around medications
Yeah.
for the treatment of chronic diseases. You'll have some people to kind of say avoid these things and that. But as far as nutrition in a whole, I still feel like we're still lacking in that.
Okay.
Like you said, they may take a course or something, but it's pharmaceutical is where it's at, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, the trend with working out, I think, is helping push the agenda of eating healthy, but from a medicine perspective, no, they'll kinda slap your hand, "Stay away from salt." Well, I mean, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Right. Right.
Yeah, no. It's sad, but no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I'm really think about it, we have to think about who finances those institutions. So,
Yes,
it's like,
absolutely,
okay, well, we
absolutely.
go where the money is. And if it's on medication versus, oh, because there's so much evidence behind how, diet and exercise helps with wellness, but it's more about treatment than it is definitely not curing anything these days.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exact.
Is there any example that you can give of someone that you care for personally and you saw them change the way that they ate and they started exercising and you saw them improve, or a situation where someone, because they weren't willing to, it was to their detriment?
A good friend who's also a nurse, we met she was a cardiac ICU nurse, and then after, COVID, she traveled and, did some, agency nursing and everything, and she always wanted to kinda get started in regards to working out, being healthy, so I never forget, we would kinda go work out a little bit, kinda gave s it's a diet plan. She started following it, fell off a little bit, and then this past year, due to a life change, breakup, those are usually our catalysts or something that's gonna push you. If you go through a romantic breakup or something, it's gonna tip you one way or the other. And for
Right.
her, it tipped her in the positive direction,
Okay.
and when I say she went hard in the paint with being on track with her diet, being consistent in the gym. And when I say she dropped 30 pounds, she looks fabulous.
Wow.
Fabulous.
That is awesome.
One of the things that I saw that she had posted on social media, which was so funny when she did like a before and a after picture, she was
Mhm.
like, I didn't want to continue to be that nurse to tell you
Mm.
but I wasn't following what I was telling you what to do. So to see her do that, I am such a cheerleader. I'm such a girl's girl when it comes to that, when someone takes ownership of their health.
Yes.
I mean, I just get excited. At another younger nurse who we would start working out and everything, and she just completed her first marathon, the Chicago Marathon. And
Okay.
I was just so excited for her, and she sent me this amazing thank you text message that was so long about how I encourage her to be healthy and even apply that to her nursing career as well, and I was just like, wow. I was, like, in tears when I read that because you never know who you influence, you know,
Absolutely.
by people just watching you,
Right.
and I was like, "Oh my goodness." But, yeah, I've seen that. I have not, thank goodness, seen anyone personally that didn't work out that, to the opposite end that caused harm to them. However, I am aware of a young lady who worked out pretty regularly who used to compete, and I found out that she used to be in the Chicago area and she relocated and she had a stroke. And I was
Mm,
like, she wasn't super old, but come to find out, she had hypertension. She knew she had hypertension and wasn't on top of monitoring her blood pressure and end up having a stroke. So, yeah, she was working out,
mhm.
wasn't paying attention to that blood pressure portion of it,
Right,
you
right.
know? So, it has to come hand in hand. If you have a diagnosis of hypertension, working out is good, but you still need to be aware, like, what are your actual numbers, to keep that stuff at bay because sometimes working out is not enough. Like, I'm not sure what her diet was, those factors, if she was supposed to be on medication. Because sometimes, unfortunately, we have to be on medication. We don't want
Yeah.
to,
Right,
but
right,
we
right.
have to. If
That's
you're
true.
doing everything you're supposed to do in regards to diet and exercise, and you still continue to have, elevated blood pressures, unfortunately, you probably need to be on, some medication to prevent you from having, a stroke.
Right, 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 right. So how has you being in nursing influenced your family and as far as like changing the tradition of the way that you eat and okay.
Now that's the funny part. Now that is the funny part because, changing how I eat, how I prepare food. I never forget my mom one time. I made something. She was like, "Oh, you still know how to cook that?" Yeah, yeah. I don't eat it all the time, but if I want it, I have something in moderation. But they would sit back and just kind of look at me like, "So you eating that?" And okay. "Oh, so you don't want none of this?" "No, I don't want one of, any of that." But it's so funny because growing up, both of my parents smoked.
Mm,
My father quit though, but my mom never quit. But she would cut back. And so my mom is now 85. She's 85. She
okay.
literally stopped smoking maybe a year and a half ago. But although
Wow.
she was smoking maybe 2 cigarettes a day. Like, "Man, why are you even doing it? It's 2, you can't let those 2 2
Right.
go." But it was so funny, and I think what finally made her stop, I never agreed with that. I don't. I'm like, "You really should stop that." Is when she came to visit me, and, she was here for some time, and she ran out of cigarettes, and she was like, "You going out?" I'm like, "Yeah." She was like, "Can you get me, some cigarettes?" I said, "No, no." She was like, I said, "No, I am not gonna go buy any cigarettes for you, ma'am. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it." And
Right.
it's so amazing that it took all this time, but she finally stopped, and I was like, "Wow, okay," you know? But,
Very
my family, they are
interesting.
so funny when they see me, being more conscious of my diet. They'll ask, like, "What's that?" And if I give them something to taste, "Oh, that tastes good." I'm like, "Why would you think it wouldn't? Because it's not fried or"
Right, right,
like, you
right.
can eat healthy and it tastes good.
Absolutely.
So, I try to be a positive, influence on my family. I have a, cousin that's a few years older than me, and she does have some health challenges, and, I try to still help her, like, "Hey, let me show you this is something that you can cook and it tastes good," or "Here's
Right.
some exercises." Like, I did some videos and, like, "Here's some exercises that you can do." So I try to influence people without being pushy. You want to encourage people, but you don't want to be pushy.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I've been vegan now for I think 12 or 13 years,
Okay.
and I was a pescatarian for 24. So even when I was at Fisk, I didn't eat chicken.
Mhm.
I ate beef though, but I
Okay.
ate chicken. And
Okay.
then after Fisk, I stopped eating beef and I was just a pescatarian for 24 years. But I'm the same way. Like I don't try to push veganism on people. It's like I eat
Mhm.
what I eat. If I cook, people will eat the food. Of course, they don't talk about it, but they usually like it.
Right, right.
But anyway, I'm the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's move on to you being this elite athlete. So you have excelled in healthcare, but you are considered an elite athlete. You became an IFBB pro and you competed in on the Mr. Olympia stage, which is the
Yes.
highest level of competition in bodybuilding.
It
That is
is.
awesome. Congratulations. I was so excited. Let me tell you. And the crazy part is we started or competed the same year. The first
Okay.
competition that I did, it was an NPC, was 2011. But when I saw you, I was like, oh my God, look at Vicky. And so I didn't even know about competing in Mr. Olympias. How did you make the time? Because I always say when we really want to do something,
Yes.
we make the time. We don't find the
Yes.
time, we make the time. So talk
Yes.
about that.
Oh my gosh. So I started competing. I turned pro in 2011, but prior to that, I had been competing for a few years. It was more of just a hobby type of thing, and I really started enjoying weights. My best friend who had never competed, we had a mutual friend. She was like, "Hey, our friend Dawn, she's gonna do this show. You ought to look at doing it." And I was like, "Wait, what?" So I started looking it up, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So, I trained myself, and Don had given me somebody who made suits in Texas. So I did my very first show in Texas. It was called The Heart of Texas.
Okay.
And I went there. I never forget, my parents came. It was this big deal. And I competed. I got my tail wiped across. I mean, I got blew out. This was a huge show. Yeah, I was just up there having a good time. But I got hooked. Mm, okay, this is kind of fun. So working out for me, being a critical care nurse, it was more of a stress reliever to work out.
Mhm.
It was a
Yes,
place where
yes,
I
yes.
can go and I can just let go of what everything that happened at work, and it made me feel good to work out.
Mhm.
So that's where the necessity came. It came like a need. That was my therapy
Mhm.
to go work. So I'm going to make time to work out because I feel like that's what kept me balanced, kept
Yeah,
me emotionally clear and mentally clear when I would go to work. So it was just part of my day.
yeah.
And after I started competing, I had won a show here locally and qualified for nationals. I still, again, at this time it was a hobby. I'm like, whatever. So I go to nationals. I go to nationals and was like, wait a minute, this is something big. This is huge. You know, I go up there again, get my butt kicked because I'm like, okay. And then it clicked. Okay, since you're on a national stage, maybe you should take this a little bit more serious.
Mhm.
So that's when I actually hired an elite coach who actually still coaches. Kim Odo was my first coach.
Yeah.
And when I went to nationals with him, like, I was so ripped, it was crazy. He was like, "Just stand up there, don't flex, just stand there." I'm like, but it still took me a couple years before I turned pro, and I actually trained myself and end up turning pro. But it
Okay.
just became such part of my life, like,
Mhm.
everything, to be honest with you, during that time, all of my life revolved around me working out. So it was a non-negotiable in regards to
Okay.
me getting to the gym, prepping my meals, everything else evolved around that.
I like that.
If I was
Versus
like,
everything revolving around your work. Okay, yes.
yes, no, everything evolved around that. I had the best coworkers. I mean, I would carry my lunch bag. I would have about 6 meals, and to top it off, I didn't work a regular schedule. I worked night shift
Mm,
throughout this whole competing process. I was night
wow,
shift nurse, 7P to 7A. So when
wow.
I would wake up in the morning, I'm in the evening rather, I treated that like that was my morning. I'm waking up at 5 something, getting ready for work. That is my breakfast. Like, so my stuff
Right,
was
right, right.
totally reversed.
Mhm.
Taking all my meals, running between patients, trying to eat and doing that. It was not easy. It was something
Yeah, I
it
know.
wasn't easy, but once I got in there and took it serious and moved from the mindset of it being a hobby to saying, "No, this is something I really want to do,"
Right.
it just took off. I'm a all or none type of girl. I'm
Mhm,
either all in or I'm not. And
mhm.
so, like I said, it was a non-negotiable. I made time. Yeah, it was like having a whole second job, to be honest with you.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I know.
It's a second job, but it was something that I enjoyed. The worst part that I hated is the diet, because it's so strict.
Mhm.
I'm packing my meals. I even had bought this fancy purse that had a compartment in it for my meal.
Oh, wow.
You would see me I would go to like a Bulls game and I got my meals hidden in there and I'm sitting there eating fish.
Right.
Yeah, it was yeah, it's a different type of commitment.
Absolutely.
I honestly, I wouldn't change anything that I did, but I never forget at one time, this is when I was about to make it to the O. I This is and when I think back, I had to be crazy because I was working part-time, still in the hospital in the cardiac ICU.
Okay.
I was working the other half of that part-time, I was working as a family nurse practitioner in an office, and I was competing as a pro athlete all at the same time. Yeah, crazy. I made it work, but I did.
So how did you make the time for a part-time job?
They were both part-time, so that equaled my whole.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so they were both part-time because I love the bedside so much, I never completely let it go to be a nurse
okay,
practitioner at that time. So that's
okay,
why I had them both part-time. I split both of those jobs and then competed as
okay, okay. Now let's go back.
okay,
Let's go back.
okay.
So we haven't touched on that, but we met because we both went to Fisk University. We're
Yes,
classmates, graduated the same year.
yes.
Do you recall people working out at Fisk, specifically weightlifting?
It's funny you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. Most people don't know and or remember, I actually ran track my first year at Fisk. Yes.
And track too, but I think it was my second year. So that's crazy. We weren't on this track team together. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I ran track my first year
Okay.
and it was at Fisk where I was introduced to lifting weights. Yes.
That
Prior
janky
to
gym?
that, well, we went to another place because I remember we also trained, I think it was Pearl Cone High School that wasn't too
Okay.
far.
Yeah,
We would
yeah,
go
yeah.
we had pool sessions there, and then we went to I think it was either there or somewhere where we lifted weights. I fell in love with lifting weights when I was on the track team at Fit. However,
Interesting.
I was a seasonal workout, meaning I only worked out when I was getting ready for the summertime.
Oh, funny.
Weights and how I had some nice quads, and I was like, "Oh, it's summertime, put some shorts on." So I was a seasonal workout person. But at this is where I was introduced to lifting weights. And was it a big thing at that time? No, it wasn't. It wasn't,
Okay.
because even when I went back home to Texas, I never forget a high school classmate saw me and she was like, "Girl, your legs are big." It wasn't a big thing. But again, that's where I got my start from lifting weights, was at Fist.
That's interesting because we have a classmate that I've seen online.
Mhm.
And he's seen me training and stuff and has made comments like, "Oh, I wish I would have known." He was like, "Oh, we lifted weights at Fisk." And I was like, "Really? Like where?" I remember that weight room with like old weights and dusty
Mhm.
and like I never saw anybody in there. It
Mhm.
was off the side of the gym or whatever. But I'm like, I wish I would have known because I always wanted to do bodybuilding. A lot of it had to do with seeing my father and my uncles being ripped and
Nice.
stuff. And I always
Okay.
wanted that too. But yeah, I wasn't introduced to lifting weights, actually training and going to the gym until like 2010, because
Wow.
yeah. So it was
Wow.
new to me.
Okay.
I saw it, but I didn't really know what to do,
Yeah, right, right,
until I
right, right.
hired a trainer and then they like gave me a program and I was like one of those people that I would go up to the trainers in the gym like, "Okay, can you tell me how to do this?" I would show them my program and show me what weights to use, what machines and all of that. So yeah, it was like, yeah. But
Mhm.
speaking of which, where you okay, so you fell in love with weights, introduced to weights at Fisk. Did you grow up playing any sport?
If you're listening right now and you're thinking, Coach Flo, I know I need to get moving, but I don't know where to start. Or you've been moving, but you feel stuck. Maybe you hit a plateau. This message is for you. I created a 21-day Get Active, Stay Active challenge just for women like you. It's simple, it doesn't take much time, and it's doable even if you can only work out at home. This challenge is designed not only to help you build strength and momentum, it's designed to build confidence and consistency without feeling overwhelmed. Every day, you'll get clear guidance and small, powerful steps that add up to big results. By the end of the 21 days, you'll not only feel stronger, you'll know exactly how to keep going. So if you're ready to take that step, join me. Click the link in the description to join the challenge. Your future self will thank you for it. Now let's get back to the episode.
It's so funny because my elementary school, we used to have this little track I would run. In middle school, I was on the track team. High school, for some reason, I was scared. I think it's because I went to a different school than most of the people that I went with, middle school with, and I got a little scared to run track. So
Okay.
instead, I joined the marching band.
Wow. Well, that's considered a sport now too, isn't it?
Yeah. So I joined the marching band instead of
Okay.
running track. And then for some reason, I thought that I was going to go back and run track as a freshman in college. But I did it
Interesting.
just for 1 year, which was pretty cool. But yeah. So not too much.
Okay.
Now that they have flag football for girls, I wish they would have had that when I was coming around because I would have played. Because I remember,
Still have it. You ain't
yeah,
too old.
Flo, I was humbled this year because I tried to go play. I have a friend who used to play with the what's the name of the football? It's a female football league, that
The
they had.
lingerie football league.
Remember it was lingerie and then it changed
Okay,
over,
because
but
I
it became more
okay.
like the real thing. So she played with them and she's a nurse as well. And I never forget when I went to go see one of her games and I was like, well, y'all playing for real. Like this
Right,
for
right,
real, for
right.
real. But off along aside of that, she also did the flag football. So I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I want to play some flag football. She was like, okay. She put me in touch with one of the coaches for, the flag football. She said, this will be a good team for you to start off with. I'm like, okay. And no, they're serious. Play and have fun. But no, they are elite athletes. Like they're playing. And I went for a few practices and baby, the way how my fast twitch muscles don't work.
More like slow twitch, huh?
Yes, the fast twitch muscles was like, what are you doing out here, man?
That is too
And I was
funny.
like, I was like, you know what? That ship has sailed. I probably should have tried this about 10 years ago when I was still able to sprint. Cause right now it was the last practice I zigged when I should have zagged, and I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna cheer." Yeah. It was so funny.
That is too funny.
My gosh. I got humbled real fast.
I feel
Y'all serious. Oh, y'all trying to get to a championship.
it's
This
like,
ain't
never
my
mind.
thing. I need to just play with some family friends. We just out there messing around. Cause that
Oh, that is too funny.
yeah, uh-uh.
But you know what? You talk about, well, this is more of long distance. You said after you did a 2K and you only trained for 2 weeks and you did it in 10 minutes and 18 seconds.
Yes, so there was a period.
Or pace, 10
Yes,
minute,
pace.
18 pace.
There
Right.
was a period between competing where I fell in love with running.
Mm,
And it was a distance thing. And I was
okay.
like, okay. And I had got pretty good at it and was doing really good. I had gotten down to like almost like right when I would do a race, I would be about a 9 minute pace. And I fell in love with it and I just kind of just fell off from running. And so I was like, something to challenge myself since I'm not competing anymore. I wanted to run. So because of flag football humbled me, I actually had kind of injured or pulled my hamstring
No.
when I didn't zig when I should have zagged type of thing. And it's like, so once that healed, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get back into running.
Hmm.
And so my friend who I was speaking of that competed the Chicago Marathon, she actually inspired me. I was like, maybe I should start back running. And
Mm,
Chicago is really big with having all of these different runs. And I
okay.
looked up, there was a hot chocolate run that was coming up, and it literally was in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay. Um, and I had bought some running shoes earlier in the year and really hadn't used them. And I was like,
Hmm.
well, let me see how I feel. Let me see how I feel. So I go out my first day and run. I actually ran 3 miles and I was like, oh, I felt pretty good. Yeah, just right off the bat, I ran 3 miles and I was like, that wasn't too bad. That felt okay. So then Hot Chocolate has a K, a 10K, and a 50K. So when I
Hmm.
did 3 miles and I was like, oh, that wasn't too bad, my crazy self was like, a 5K, that's not challenging enough.
Yeah. You're a tank.
Ran a second time and was like, okay, that felt pretty good. And I went on and signed up for the race. Yeah, signed up for the race. And the longest run that I ran that second week right before the race was 4.2. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to push out those 2 miles to get, when I get
Right.
there. And I am one of those people when you put me into a race, those folks are not worried about me. But for some reason, I feel like I'm racing against
Right.
everybody out there. So it always makes me go a faster pace because I'm thinking I'm in a race. These folks are not paying me any attention. But I usually can find someone who's has a pretty decent pace. I feel like I can keep up. And it was this one random guy and he was moving. I was like, okay, I think I'm okay. So I'm kind of chasing him, and that's why I was able to get that faster pace. But it was one point I looked down, I said, oh no, he's taller than me. I'm taking about 2 steps to equal his one little step. I'm like, okay, let me slow up a little bit. But that's why I was able to compete or finish that race in a
Okay.
10.18 pace with only 2 weeks of training. It's a mental thing in regards to running for
Hmm.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I get past that, usually for me that first mile is the hardest because you're
Mhm.
trying your rhythm, making sure
Right,
you.
right, right.
And usually when I hit that first mile, that's when I finally ease into the run, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, we're cruising. I got my music on. I'm good. But yeah, I did that. Crazy. I did that. Yeah. Trained for 2 weeks and went out there and did and ran
That's
a
awesome. That's awesome. So is that now your new thing, running? Are you going back to running, or what does your athletic life look like now?
my athletic well, I still love to lift weights. So I still lift weights, and then for competition wise, I think it will be more running. At one time I was like, "Ooh, I might do a marathon." Then I kept saying, "No, I really can't. I don't know where I need to run for 26 minutes." However, I don't know. I might get pushed there. Like there's this cool running club I have not attended yet
Mhm.
here in Chicago. They're called Peace Runners. They are phenomenal in regards to this community of running. I watch them on Instagram, and it's a guy that I went and did one training session with, Julius, that runs with them as well. They are phenomenal. Like they
Okay.
meet up every week, run, encourage, other runners. They also have people who walk, they give back to the community. Like it's
Mhm.
awesome. So who knows if I decide to go out and join them, might get the itch to try to do a marathon because they had a couple people do the Chicago marathon. They had some folks do the New York marathon,
Okay.
and it's I mean the hype and the support is
Right, right,
amazing.
right.
So I'm an adrenaline junkie.
Okay.
So if I join them, I'm pretty sure who knows what I'll end up running. But as far as working out, I work out and I lift weights probably about 3 to 4 days a week, and then do about 30 minutes of cardio, depending on what cardio I'm doing. I still, believe it or not, I still work night shift. Night shift is just my thing. So if I have 2 night shifts back to back, then I don't necessarily go to the gym. I will wake up. I have a bike that's kinda like a Peloton bike, but
Mhm.
it's a Yay Soul, but I use the Peloton, app. And
Okay.
so I'll get on that between do a probably mostly it's a 20-minute ride. I'll find a 20-minute ride in between my shifts and do that just to stay active.
Okay.
Yeah, to stay active. Um 'Cause, yeah, and my look is so different. That's another thing, is the mind coming from it the body dysmorphia.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Coming from
yeah.
a pro athlete to being a normal person, I didn't think I would have body dysmorphia, but then I kept looking in the mirror and I'm like, I don't know." People like, "Girl, you look good." I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know, because 'cause I'm used to seeing myself in a different
Right,
light."
right.
So chasing that,
It's
I got over
real.
that. But yeah, but definitely just
Especially
staying
with
more. Yeah.
it's like that's a whole nother wrench in the program. Like, wait a
Yes.
second. Come on
Yes.
now. What is
Yes,
this
for
little
sure.
thing underneath my belly?
That part. Like, what? Yes, and
Well, you
you're
listen.
relearning your body
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what works for you. Like,
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. What was your reason for actually retiring from competing bodybuilding?
So when I sit here and think about it, I always, even when I turned pro, still would say this was a hobby.
Mm,
It wasn't anything that I tried to make a career out of or make
okay.
money, because a lot of people do. And to be honest with you, making it to the Olympia was a blessing because the odds are so slim to
Uh-huh.
making it to the Olympia. And because I treated it like a hobby, it was never one of my goals.
Mm,
Never one of my goals to make it to the Olympia.
interesting.
Yeah, and it wasn't until, because I turned pro in figure, but I end up changing divisions into bikini, and
Mm,
because I didn't want that much muscle on my frame type
okay.
of thing. So when bikini was around, and I was like, let's see what I can do, with bikini. But because I had mature muscle, I had to burn muscle down and all of those things. But long story short, there was local trainer, Mandis, who I reached out to, and it was so funny. He was like, "I've been waiting for you to reach out to me." I was like, "What?"
I love it.
Right? He was like, "I've been waiting." I was like, "What?" And I never forget. I went to go see him in person. We were gonna sit and talk about goals, and the way how that man put it in my head that I was gonna make it to the Olympia, and
Hmm.
I took that bait, hook, line, and sinker.
Wow.
Line and sinker. I just needed someone to push me.
Mhm.
And he was like, "You're gonna be at the Olympia," and I'm like this. We
Wow.
made it. We made it to the Olympia that
That is
same year.
amazing.
Like it was no that same year I started with him, we made it to the Olympia stage.
That's
And when I made it
impressive.
to the Olympia stage, because that was initially never one of my goals, I was like, I can retire. Retire because I never thought I would make it here anyway. So I'm good. And that's kind of what led to me wanting to retire. And
Okay.
then so in 2016, I initially retired, and then I came back to the stage after COVID because they had the new division, the wellness division, which I
Mhm.
really was like, "Oh, I kind of like that." So I only competed in wellness for like a year in 2021,
Mhm.
which I really enjoyed. And then I was like, you know what? I'm older. I'm a bow out gracefully. I want to give up the strenuous diet type of thing and just enjoy working out and not be
Yeah.
forced. I was like, I want to live a little
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
type of
Yeah.
thing. But so that's why I decided to retire from competing. But if I would have had the mindset that I had for that 1 year, if I woulda had that throughout my competitive career, I probably would have been a force to be reckoned with, because when I was sitting there looking back at my placings,
Mhm.
um, I was like, "Oh my gosh," it's probably only a couple of shows that I placed outside of the top 10. Like, I was pretty up there in regards to a IFBB Pro, but I didn't have the mindset. And I think it
That
was
is so
because
interesting.
yeah, I think it was because I was like, "This is a hobby. My career is a nurse, I'm a nurse." And I just didn't have that mindset. But hindsight, if I could do it all over again, if I had that mindset, I would really be curious to know, like, how far I would have been able to go if I had that mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
so key. Mindset.
Yes.
That is so key because there are so many people that are competing and just being in that environment. That's interesting that you didn't have that as a goal, like, because people's mindset, they get in and it's like, that's what I'm going for, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
that's
I was
pretty
I
impressive. Mindset. So we're talking about elevating our flow. When would you
yeah.
say that you're in your elevated flow state, whether it's in your career, training? You talked about in your bio, and I'll ask you that in a second, like what your self care routine is. But when would you say that you feel like you're in your flow state?
feel like now.
Okay.
Feel like even though, this midlife thing going on, I feel like I'm starting to really tap into what makes me happy
Mm,
in regards to working out. It feels good. I'm not stressed about anything. I am fully enjoying life and all it has to offer. This,
awesome.
yeah, I'm just in my flow state. And I don't know what took me. I don't know if because that I hit, 50. I'm not sure what clicked, but I just feel like I just want to enjoy life
Mm,
and everything that it has to offer. I don't stress about too much of anything. Life is so short, it's so precious.
right.
I This is it. I am at that state where I am just enjoying everything, watching my body change, embracing the change, not trying to find, embracing and learning from it. It's
Yeah.
just I just feel like all around career-wise, I'm not at the bedside anymore right now. I'm still in nursing, but not at the bedside. I just I'm at that
Mhm. Uh,
Where life is grand and I just want to embrace it all. And I only thing I hate is I feel like time is flying now. I just wanted to kind of slow up a little
uh-huh.
bit, pump the brakes a little bit. But yeah, I feel like I am very grateful and blessed for where I am right now. And I wouldn't change anything about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I know that you said that your mission is to encourage women to stay active and age strongly. And how what does your self-care routine look like? Do you have a self-care routine outside of working out for your mental and physical health?
I love to sleep.
Ah,
Sleep is important. That is part of self-care.
absolutely.
I love to, rest when I can, go get massages when I can. One thing I didn't do for a while, and that's one thing I'm encouraging people in general, women, men, everyone, is not only lifting weights, but that
Yes,
stretching,
yes,
that stretching and mobility
absolutely.
is so important. It is so important with body mechanics and everything. So
Mhm.
I am incorporating more of that into my self-care, not being on the rush to do weights. I can sit down, meditate, relax, stretch,
Yeah.
that type of stuff. And like I say, self-care, I just like to go and have a good time in regards
Mhm.
to go outside, go to the lake,
My
try to
favorite.
yeah, just and self-care looks different to so many people.
Mhm.
But yeah, unplugging. Now we have
Mm.
all this social media. Unplug from that. Get away from the
Yeah.
news. That's all self-care. Clear your mind. So much going on in the world.
Yes,
So
it
much
is.
going on in the world that definitely, I like to travel. That's self-care. Because
Okay.
when I travel, I don't have a care in the world.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, I'm just like, yep, yep. You work hard now. You can, enjoy the fruits
Play
of your
hard.
labor. Let's travel
Right,
and
right, right.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I want to move into encouraging wellness and aging and longevity. So many women in their midlife, they struggle to start or stay consistent with working out and watching their diet and incorporating, like you said, stretching, movement, just movement,
Yeah.
moving every day. And then what's also important is the rest and recovery, people not getting enough sleep. And some of that, women deal with insomnia, with menopause as well. And
Yes.
that's a whole
Yes.
nother story.
Right.
But what advice would you give to women in midlife that may feel like they might be behind because they haven't been working out long, or maybe they've been working out but they're just not consistent. They feel tired, or they feel like, I'm allergic to working out or something.
Well, for women who don't really work out and want to start, it's never too late.
Right.
That's the number one thing. It's never too late to start. And it doesn't have to be anything big. And I think that's what people think. Like it has to be, I have to go to the gym, I have to do this and that. It does not have to be big.
Right, right,
Start
right.
by doing something 15 minutes a day.
Mhm.
Start small because I think a lot of people get discouraged because they go from 0 to 100.
Right,
Like you can't do that. You're not going to like it.
right.
So start small, 10, 15 minutes,
Absolutely.
stretch, you know, wake up. How do you spend your day or how do you start your day rather? Do you have 5 minutes before you get your day going? That can just be some stretching,
Mm,
you know, and you just got to ease into it and make time. So those are people who don't work out. For those who um struggle with consistency, that can be hard, but I
yeah.
mean, feel like when people going through midlife, working out is so key into kind of elevating your mood, kind
Mm-hmm.
of helping those hormones
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
with,
Absolutely.
yeah, with working out. And it could be hard because some people suffer from a lot of fatigue
Right.
with
Right.
going through menopause and being menopausal, you have fatigue. So one of the things too that I encourage women too is don't be afraid to talk to your doctor in regards to like what's going on with my body and trying to figure things out. And one thing that I'm really loving now is there's so much talk around menopause now.
Yes.
Was
Yes.
really no talk, no
Yes.
one talked about it, and everybody's going into it blind, and like
Right. Right.
I
Right.
can't remember this. I can't. What is that? Menopause? What? My skin is itching. What is that? What? Insomnia. So you have to kind of adjust and talk to your doctor like what's going on because some discuss maybe getting your hormones tested. Charties. Is that okay for me to do? Or even just checking your vitamin D level. You may not have enough energy because your vitamin D level is low. So it's just so many aspects. And just most women should just be kind to themselves. Number one,
Yes.
be kind. Our bodies go through so many changes, and we just need to be kind to ourselves and just try to figure it out. I always encourage. They like, well, why are you so active? And you can't base yourself on somebody else.
Right.
Everybody is different.
Right.
And
Right.
I've
Right.
just always been that I'm all or none. Either I'm asleep or I'm moving 1,000 miles
Right.
faster. I don't even have a middle. But, I just want to, encourage people just start moving. What does that look like for you, with moving? It doesn't have to be anything strenuous. Go start, taking a walk around the block. Oh, it's wintertime. I can't do that. That's okay. They have so many free workouts on YouTube. You
Mm.
can find
Right.
stretching stuff, meditation. Start somewhere. And
Right.
then, and invest in yourself.
That's key.
That is
Yeah.
key. Invest in yourself. So I try to be, people ask questions. I try to give them as much knowledge as I can. I don't have problems with helping people work out if that's what they wanna do, that is
Right.
fine. I
Right.
have one of my coworkers, she was pretty good a couple years ago, and she's been working so much, and she was like, "Okay, send me your schedule. I wanna work out with you at least once a week." Okay, cool. So now we just started working
Oh,
out once a week just to help move her body, and I have no problems with helping people do that, but yeah, I don't know, you try to motivate people, but you have to have something within you to make you
absolutely.
wanna to do
Absolutely.
that.
So let's move on to our Pass the Torch segment. And that is if you could talk to your teenage self, and in essence, you were talking to a younger generation that may be watching this, what would you tell your teenage self or that younger girl now, the importance of movement, staying physically active, and how it will impact the rest of their life?
My younger self. Keep those fast twitch muscles you switch. No, I'm just saying.
That part.
Right, right. But no, seriously, you're gonna get older. You cannot stop the aging process. No
That's
matter
right.
what you do, you can't stop the aging process. Therefore, embrace working out. Start as soon as you can in regards to working out. Be mindful of what you're putting in your body
Mm,
in regards to anything. Just be mindful of that because you only get one life, you get one body, you get one chance.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so you want to be kind to yourself and honor your temple in all aspects. Work out, try to eat healthy. I'm trying to think what else to the younger passing the torch.
Yeah.
It's not a quick fix for anything, when everybody wants to look a certain way now. They
Yeah.
want it now. And it takes hard work, takes consistency, be forgiving to yourself.
Leave everything you see on social media.
You know, I'm almost starting to feel like starting to sound like my mom or some of the old people in regards to I'm starting to hate social media because we didn't have that. we did not have social media, and I I still don't understand how many or why so many young people are so influenced as to what they see on social media. I don't understand that.
Mm,
I don't know how to convey that those are people's highlights. That's not their whole life. They're gonna show you the highlights of their life
right.
and
I like
not
that highlight, not their whole life.
yeah, it's just the highlights. It's not
Right,
their
right,
whole
right.
life. And don't be so easily swayed with
Yeah.
what you see on social media. So, I mean, some regards, I wish we didn't have it. You see too much. You see too much on it. You just see too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't I don't know what the big craze is. I mean,
Look
cause
at it in moderation, and
absolutely.
really think about like what's reality and what's not. Because I mean, even with AI, I mean, all of this stuff, it's not getting any less. It's getting more, and there's going to be more AI, and so it's like, yeah, you got to really think about what's realistic. And you know what? I'm gonna kind of go back. Just real quick before we end to the
Okay.
weight loss thing. I mean, to the weightlifting thing, because I've heard so many women, and I know you have to, talk about like lifting weights and like, oh, I don't want to get bulky. And I'm always like,
You know,
we do not have enough testosterone to naturally bulk up to look like men just because you lift a little bit of weights, right?
absolutely.
But then also, if you know like physiology,
Mhm.
you know that lifting weights and doing certain things is not going to make you go from this flat booty to this big old bubble butt in 9 months.
No, it's not.
So it's
It's
like,
not.
okay, you were really, really small, and now you're like, boom, do a couple of booty exercises, and you're like, that's not the way physiology works.
Right.
But okay, so yeah, be careful what you listen to, and
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you want to have longevity
yes,
of
yes,
everything. And so everything is not a quick fix. Like you say, lifting weights is not going to cause you to look like a man, bulky, but you have to lift weights in combination of having a decent diet. There's different supplementations that you can get to help with building muscle. Again, you still won't look like a man, but you're going to look awesome without your clothes on.
right.
You gotta look awesome without your clothes on. And, it's so funny you talk about, like, the round butt and the glutes. Can you get that from the gym? Absolutely. Is it gonna take time? Absolutely. It's not gonna
Take
happen
time.
overnight. Yeah, it happens over time, but you can get there, but
Yeah.
you also got to have the nutrition behind it to build the muscle and to get there. I just hate that so many people are going under the knife to achieve certain physique or physique things that you can do in the gym.
Yeah.
In the gym, and it's okay to have natural, lifting weights is gonna give you that hourglass and that curves anyway if you're consistent and in the gym and taking your time. It's so
Right, right. I know we could talk a whole lot about that. I've been one day I kind of bid to watch some videos, and they're, kind of finding these people that have been saying that they got these results from the gym, but then they found out that they went under the knife and all of these fake influencers and stuff
oh
like that.
yeah. And then you have to be yeah, not only that, but you have people who edit their pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true too.
Yeah, they will enhance stuff and edit their pictures to give, the certain look. But I used to always tell people that I work out for my health. How I look is a bonus.
Mm,
So I was like, I work out to be healthy. There's hypertension in my family, those different things. And so I work out to be healthy.
yeah.
But the bonus is my physique. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that. I'll
I'll
take
take that. Well, Miss Vicky, it has been such a pleasure. It has been such a pleasure. And but you know what? We're just going to say social media, use it in moderation, work out for your health. You're going to look great. You're going to feel great. You want to focus on longevity, flexibility,
yes.
mobility,
Yes.
all of those things. So You know what? We're going to end on that. And for those of you that want to hear more from Vicki, I'm going to ask her a couple of more questions in the Patreon community. So you can go on over and join the Patreon community so you can get these other sneak peek questions that we're going to ask right after the episode. So again, thank you, Miss Vicki, for being on the Elevated Flow podcast. Everyone else, remember to find your zone and elevate your flow. Peace.
1, 2,